Welcome to the 10th edition of the CRO race. 6 stages of racing, over 860 kilometers of racing in total, almost 10,000 meters of elevation. The riders, they've got underway from Split on stage when they've made their way up the coastline. And this is the Queen stage, stage 4, the longest of all 6 stages, 190.5 kilometers of racing, starting on the island of Kirk. They'll make their way onto the mainland from one region into Istria, where the finish line will be in Labin. An incredibly difficult stage for the riders, and one where you can expect to see big time gaps, a big shift in the general classification. Look over the town of Kirk itself, one of the oldest urban settlements in Croatia, known as the City of History and Culture. Serves as an administrative, business and cultural centre of the island of Kirk itself, situated right on the spacious bay of the southwest part of the island. History stretches back 3,000 years through evidence by archaeological findings in the sites of the Liberian culture. There's the leader in the general classification, Paul Magnier, in that red jersey sitting in the centre for Soudal Quickstep. 3-stage victories. He made it a hat-trick yesterday. It was a close finish between him and Ben Turner, but I expect to see plenty of different names up towards the front today into Labin. Nice sunny day, plenty of locals are out to come and support the race. It really is wonderful to see, and to see how much cycling is growing and has been over the last 8, 9, 10 years here in Croatia. CRO race very much at the forefront of increasing the popularity of cycling and professional cycling, the racing element. Danny van Poppel up towards the front, the Dutch champion. Well, this is the route for the riders, starting in Kirk through Malinska, the first intermediate sprint. They're still on the island, then they pass on to the mainland of Croatia through the next intermediate sprint, that's at Viškovo. Undulating roads, they take on the first all category climb, that's Poklon, 11.5 kilometers of racing through Kurshan at the intermediate sprint, through Labin. They'll get to see the finish line through the category 1 climb, that's Skadacha, and then make their way back to Labin to the finish on that famous cobble climb. Well, they're almost ready to go. The flag is waved, the car pulls away, and immediately it's Metek Solowat, powered by Mantle, who try and attempt to get into the breakaway. This is Axel van der Tuk. With him, he's got one of the riders from Poggi team, Gusto Ljubljana. That's Jan Prcenik, the 18-year-old Slovenian rider. Axel van der Tuk, his older brother, also a professional bike rider, Danny van der Tuk. Trying to force a move. There's plenty of action at the head of the peloton currently, plenty of riders and different teams wanting to try the luck on the Queen stage here. Beautiful weather conditions. Through the intermediate sprint. First intermediate sprint at Malinska. Ibaniev taking the 5 points and the 3 bonus seconds ahead of Swanglu, taking the 3 and the 2 bonus seconds. Axel van der Tuk taking the 1 point and the 1 bonus second. .5 kilometers to go for the riders. They split at the roundabout still. It's well controlled in the peloton. You can just see the 3 riders up the road. Over the Kirk Bridge, which connects the island of Kirk to the mainland. Up the all category climb of Poklon, Swanglo takes the 20 points ahead of Ibaniev taking 15, Herregot's taking the 10, Oliveira, McNulty, Wellens, Ramirez and Miholjevic round out the top placings on that all category climb. That puts Swanglo right up the top of the standings in the green jersey competition for the King of the Mountains leader. He's only 21 years of age, the rider from France, racing for the Continental squad of Arkea B&B Hotels. And with the uncertainty around Arkea B&B Hotels and whether they can indeed find two title sponsors to fill the void of Arkea and B&B Hotels for 2026 onwards, the race is on, quite literally, for these riders to try and find a contract for the forthcoming year. It'd be a real shame, because should they not find those two sponsors to fill the big void, that will bring an end to the 20-year history of Arkea B&B Hotels and Emmanuel Hubert's squad. Over the top of the all category climb, then over Poklon, Bahrain Victorious, who are pushing and have been pushing the pace on the descent. On the climb, a lot of damage was done, a lot of riders were distanced, but the descent has done a lot of damage too, because it was a very fast technical descent down the other side, steep in parts, and this has forced a group of around 40 riders, including Rui Oliveira, Antoine Houby, Pierre-André Cote just taking a bottle out of his musette. Kim Duke is in this group, as is Damiano Caruso, Eduardo Zambanini, the Dutch champion Danny van Poppel, Bob Jungels, the former Luxembourgish champion, Tim Wellens is there, the Belgian champion, Fran Miholjevic for Bahrain Victorious. A number of riders are in this group, including Inigo Alasagui, 27-year-old Spaniard who sits in 4th place right now in that mint green and dark green jersey. Also here is Joao Nicolau of Caja Rural Seguros RGA. He's the rider in the white and green jersey. He's actually got a number of teammates towards the back of the group too. Ineos Grenadiers have got strength in numbers, and meanwhile a number of riders are fighting and chasing to get back. Jean-Loup Fayol, number 11 in that red and black kit of Arkea B&B Hotels, is trying to fight back on, as is Baptiste Poulard. He's in the white jersey, occupying the Best Young Rider jersey on behalf of Paul Magnier. Mateo Ramirez, number 6, he's the rider from Quito in Ecuador, the youngster for UAE Team Emirates Next Gen team. He's getting an opportunity to race within the World Tour squad. There's Brandon McNulty, number 1. He's the defending champion of the CRO race, having won and picked up plenty of bonus seconds 1 year ago. "56 kilometres to go for the riders. The next point on the road will be the 3rd and final intermediate sprint of the day at Kershan. That comes with 52.5 kilometres remaining of the stage. Don't forget, points available at these intermediate sprints, but crucially for those wanting to feature in the general classification, the bonus seconds, 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds for the first 3 riders. Team car comes up alongside Tim Wellens. Takes a bottle, puts it back into the bottle case. She just says a swift thank you. Up towards the front then. Bahrain Victorious driving things, wanting to try and help Eduardo Zambanini, the 24-year-old Italian from Riva del Garda, pick up some bonus points and the bonus seconds. Fran Miholjevic, he's the rider on the front driving things. We're in his hometown yesterday, he swings off. Man from Rijeka in Croatia hands over to his teammate. You can see Eduardo Zambanini sitting in 4th wheel currently. Meanwhile, Rui Oliveira is there, as is Brandon McNulty with the pink glasses. All starts to open up now. Brandon McNulty starts to open up and unleash. Danny Van Poppel wanting to try and get himself involved. Zambanini coming round on the right-hand side, doesn't quite manage to get there. McNulty picks up the 5 points and the 3 bonus seconds ahead of the Italian, who takes the 3 and the 2 bonus seconds. And by the looks of things, it's the Dutch champion, Danny Van Poppel, who settles for the 1 point and the 1 bonus second. Here's a little replay of how things unfolded at that intermediate sprint. Well, almost a bike length of an advantage for McNulty ahead of Zambanini. That puts McNulty on 27 seconds. He closes the deficit. Meanwhile, Zambanini's at 22 seconds. Van Poppel now be at 23 seconds.
Je zit er goed ook. Ja, dit is goed. Ja, zo goed.
This is the red jersey group that you're looking at. 5 minutes and 29 seconds in that group. Michael Hepburn, Campbell Stewart, the former world track champion, former stage winner of the CRO race. He won the final stage 2 years ago into Zagreb, his first and only professional road victory of his career. Baptiste Poulard, the rider who was in the breakaway yesterday, the 22-year-old Frenchman from Vitry-sur-Seine, he's starting to be distanced on this unclassified climb. It's a bit of a drag, around 4, 5, 6%. It's going to take the riders to 49 kilometres to go. There's the results of the intermediate sprint. McNulty confirmed as taking that ahead of Zambanini and Van Poppel. Plenty of riders represented. Polti visit Malta. They want to try and take this opportunity to break away. Pepijn Reinderink has joined, including Ben Turner in that blue jersey, sitting in 4th wheel. They've got a slender advantage over a peloton who's not willing to relent here. Take the right-hand side of the roundabout. They try and straighten things out as much as possible. Also in this group at the back is Inigo Elisegui, as well as Manuele Torozzi. He's the 27-year-old Italian from VF Group, Bardiani CSF Faisani. This is the chasing group, which is now at 7 minutes and 12 seconds. Paul Magnier's there in that red jersey, also Kogut. A little bit further back is Casper van der Woerden. Artem Schmidt of the Ineos Grenadiers is in this group too. Also the Croatian road race champion, that's Nikola Stojkovic. There's the beautiful town of Labin. This is where the riders will be racing to the top of. The riders will enter into the lap with 38. Well, they've just gone through the entrance to the lap. There is the Flamme Rouge just behind them. They're going to take a sweeping right-hand turn. That will take them to the cobble climb, which will then lead to the finish line, the first and only passage of the finish line before the finish itself. They get an opportunity to see the run-in here. There's Arkea B&B Hotels in that red and black jersey, want to try and shake things up here. Pepijn Reinderink, and by the looks of things, Floris van Tricht. They're working well together, they've got the cohesion. Pepijn Reinderink, he's so motivated for a day like today. 23-year-old Dutchman takes it onto the cobbles first. He's looking strong, and he's done so much work to try and help Paul Magnier over the last 3 days. Successfully, it was a hat-trick for the Flying Frenchman. And Reinderink now has been given the green light by the sports directors, Ilio Kaiser and Stefan Marker, to try and go for his own result. Behind, he's got a teammate who is in this group, that's Antoine Hubie. second year with Soudal Quickstep, having come from the Soudal Quickstep development team, spent 2 years with Team DSM development team. Now he's part of the World Tour squad. The man in front comes from Almelo in the Netherlands. Coming towards the finish line here in Labin, this is a Category 3 King of the Mountain. 3, 2 and 1 points are on offer. What these two riders are after is an advantage. With UAE Team Emirates XRG, they're not relenting. They're not allowing any riders off the front. They want things to come all back together. And they want to make sure that the pace is as difficult as possible to try and shed riders out the back of this group, to try and set things up for Brandon McNulty, the defending champion. Floris van Trick comes to the top of the climb here in Labin. He takes 3 points ahead of Pepijn Reindering. Munoz taking the 1 point. They hear the bell. 36.5 kilometers to go for the riders. Van Poppel is still there. Great to see the Dutch champion is still amongst some top-class climbers. He's got himself over an all-category climb through the fourth and final feed zone of the day. Feeding will close with 10 kilometers to go. They're on to the approach of the penultimate climb of the day. This is the Category 1 climb, Skitacha. 3.5 kilometers long with steep gradients of 24%. It's an absolute brute. It's a narrow approach to this climb. But Brandon McNulty has flown away. He's been set up by Tim Wellens. Michał Kwiatkowski is attempting to follow, as is Jakob Omsel. Also trying to come across in that purple jersey. That's the former Italian champion Filippo Zana, who's off to Soudal Quickstep for the next 2 seasons. Look at how much the riders have had to climb away from the coast to where they are here in such a short space of time. It's such an unforgiving climb. You can't hide on a day like today. There's no way of faking getting into this kind of move. It's strength, it's brute force. Brandon McNulty is absolutely flying. Coming out of the Skoda Tour of Luxembourg, he's wanting to try and distance these two climbers, and he's done so successfully. They've got 500 meters to go until they get to the top of this climb, and still they've got gradients of 22, 23, 24% to contend with. At the back of this group, this is Diego Arate, came into the day 4th overall at 21 seconds. Right now, he's on the back foot, and he's been left wanting, left chasing. A seated effort for Brandon McNulty. Meanwhile, the Slovenian road race champion from Novo Mesto, Jakob Omsel, the 19-year-old, is still with a Grand Tour stage winner in Filippo Zana. Chasing in this group, you've got Ben Turner, number 25, that is Max van der Meulen, Diego Arate, as well as Pierre-Andre Cote, Moritz Krejcki. He's romping up this climb. These steep gradients don't faze Brandon McNulty. He crests the top of the Category 1 climb of Skitacha. He takes the maximum points at the top of this King of the Mountain. What he's after is as much time as possible to try and attempt to defend his overall title successfully here at the CRO race.
Nee, kan niet. Zo'n gek zo.
Omsel and Zana crest the top of the climb. They're working well together, they're sharing the workload well. There's confirmation of the King of the Mountain. McNulty taking it ahead of Omsel and Zana. 1 minute and 32 seconds is the advantage for Brandon McNulty to the chase. The second chase group is at 2 minutes and 3 seconds with 1 kilometer to go. Nobody's been able to do anything about the advantage of Brandon McNulty. He goes under the Flamme Rouge, and the man from Phoenix is going to fly to another stage victory in the CRO race. leading the chase behind. It's Eduardo Zambanini, Michał Kwiatkowski and João Nicolau. Watch out for Nicolau, he's come out of the Vuelta a España strong. He had some brilliant performances there, plenty of days in the breakaway. Kwiato, former world champion. Zambanini still searching for his first pro victory. He's going to have to wait a little while longer for that. Today, it's all about trying to gain time because this man is flying to victory. 1 minute and 40 seconds is now the advantage. These riders here in the first chase group, they can't hang around for too much longer because these riders here, including Antoine Hubie, Unai Eribar, Peter Pekela, also in the group is Alex Molinar, as well as Alexander Hayek and Emil Herzog. They don't want to allow them back into the frame of things in terms of the general classification. One last turn onto the cobbles that leads to the finish line in Labin. Brandon McNulty and UAE Team Emirates XRG, they had a plan up their sleeve. They executed it to absolute perfection. McNulty launching with 24 kilometers to go. The steep gradients of the Category 1 climb at Skatacha favored the man from Phoenix, USA. Fighting for every second, making the steep gradients on this climb of 11% look effortless. With no one in sight, he's going to be applauded and welcomed by the fans here in Labin. Banging the barriers, banging the boards, and greeting McNulty to a second stage victory in the CRO race. The man who is in terrific form. A win at Grand Prix Montreal, the overall victory at the Tour of Luxembourg, and now he adds a stage victory of the CRO race. What a month it's been for this man. Still seated, still fighting, powering away. McNulty wins the Queen stage. Brilliant Brandon takes stage 4, 24 kilometers solo, and it's Captain America who delivers the 87th victory for UAE Team Emirates XRG in 2025. Almost 5 hours of racing on the longest stage here at the CRO race. They still fight behind. Zambanini wanting to try and take some bonus seconds, wanting to try and hold on for a podium placing. Kwiato on the drops. Meanwhile, it's João Nicolau. What can the Spaniard do for Carreras Seguros RGA? Can he continue the brilliant form? That's a smile on his face, but I can assure you, it's very much a grimace. Zambanini starts to wind it up. He's going to have a big challenge from the former world champion, Michał Kwiatkowski. But here goes the man from Riva del Garda, Zambanini. A big explosion, a big injection of pace. He puts it into the left-hand side of the road. He tries to take the shorter line round. He's going to try to do everything possible to stop Kwiato. Zambanini takes second on the stage here at the CRO race. Kwiato settles for third on the Queen stage. It's fourth for Nicolau. Meanwhile, behind, they haul their way up the cobbles. Hayek and Herzog couldn't do anything. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe have been left wanting. Look at this man. Magnus Sheffield has been launched from a rocket. Look at this explosion. The turn of pace, the turn of speed. Second place 2 years ago on this stage. The man's going to settle for fifth. It's going to be the Slovenian champion, Jakob Ormsel, who takes sixth ahead of Zana. Peter Pekela, what a performance in eighth. The man for the Continental squad finishing in the top 10. Last year was the 17th place for Pekela. No doubt about it. This man takes a terrific stage victory. Win number 21 of his career. Brandon Brandon McNulty wins into Labin. He wins the Queen stage in the longest stage of this year's CRO race.
New overall leader!
And after that performance, he'll be wearing red tomorrow on stage 5. He leads the general classification, taking the jersey off. This man, Paul Magnier. Magnier continuing to lead the points classification. He'll be in blue tomorrow.
Leader by points, Paul Magnier.
A new leader in the King of the Mountains competition. Brandon McNulty leads the green jersey. And there's a new leader in the best rider. The best rider for under 23. This is Jakob Omsol, the Slovenian road race champion, who will be wearing white tomorrow. There's the results, the top 10 on the stage. Brandon McNulty winning 1 minute and 40 seconds ahead of Zambanini and Kwiatkowski. Nicolau at 1:45, with Sheffield leading it home for 5th at 2 minutes and 16. Brandon McNulty leads the general classification 1:39 ahead of Zambanini, 1:49 to Kwiatkowski, with Nicolau at 1:58, Sheffield in 5th, with Hayek running out the top 10. Paul Magnier not picking up any points today in the points classification, but he still remains the leader. He'll be in blue tomorrow. He's got a 27-point advantage over Ben Turner. McNulty, the new leader, by 1 point over Swan Glau in the King of the Mountains competition. Van der Waal with 18 points. Thank you.